Welcome back to the Varside Spurs podcast, coming to you from the Varside Arms. We've been away for a while. I'd like to say summer holidays, but I didn't go anywhere. So I don't know what it was. It was just a break, I think, for a few weeks. Tonight I'm joined by Andy. How you doing, Andy?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks, mate. Yeah, it's been a short while since we've. Is it since the international break? I can't remember actually. I can't remember
The
what we've
last time, the
done.
last one we did was a North London derby preview. Um,
Okay, well that's what fucked it off, wasn't it? It was,
yeah,
it was a North London derby.
I can't remember. I know it was. I know Simon was in it. I don't know if it was with you or if it was with Lee, but yeah. I mean, I wasn't. I can't remember the last time I've done a pod. It feels like it's been quite a while.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
don't
I
know.
think it was probably Lee and Simon, wasn't it? I can't remember.
Okay, cool.
Christ. Yeah.
So I mean, like, I don't really want to be on for like an hour. I think I said to you, let's do a pod, and I said, let's do a short pod, and you're like, yeah, yeah, sweet. And then I looked, and we haven't done anything. We've not mentioned anything since the North London derby, so I'm going to make you relive that.
Fair
But
enough.
but really, I mean, it's so long ago. I can't remember fuck all about it apart from like the score and a couple of points. So
Hmm.
um, uh, yeah, I mean, obviously, result was a bit shit. You know, I, I think from what I can recall, the you know we kind of played like we normally do, and they were really up for it and just got in our face quite a lot. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
played with a lot of urgency, and it just like um, you always feel that like they certainly at their place. I know we never really expect much because we never really beat them at their place anyway, but you know at their place, they seem to boss it quite a lot and seem to be really up for it in front of their fans and all that. And we allow them to.
Yeah, I think we do. I think it's fair to say as well that most top six sides, when they go to other top six sides, they tend to not do very well. That tends to be the pattern.
Yeah,
But you're right. Arsenal at home have all been traditionally, typically very strong, and for us to expect them to just be a rollover at the Emirates is never a case, is it? I
but
can't
we
even
but,
remember that happening.
but we felt it felt like we played like that. I mean, we
Mm.
kind of felt like we played like we just play and like and we'll beat them like which is it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what type of form they're in, whether they're top of the league, which they happened to be at the time, or whether they were struggling down the bottom or mid-table. They're always going to turn up for a North London derby. They're it's like West Ham, that they'll always turn up for that match no matter where
Yeah,
they are.
and
you know
Chelsea. Yeah.
and we just seem to take it. I don't know, maybe that's like you know a credit to the team, or that they treat every game the same. It's like, it's just Arsenal, or it's just West Ham, or it's just Chelsea. Whereas all of these,
Yeah.
like, it's like fucking hell, it's Tottenham. We need to fucking smash them, and we're like, no, we don't really care about you. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just an odd one, I think, really.
Yeah, and I think that part of this as well, I think, is all um, kind of based on that shape that Conte likes us to play. So he
Mm,
likes us to have this lower block, and you see this in every game. So this lower block, drawing teams on, passing it around at the back in this kind of nonchalant way, or it looks nonchalant, and then teams start pressing us,
mm,
pressing
yeah,
us really heavy, and then we struggle because if you're passing it around like that and you get pressed, you will eventually get into trouble. And of course, that isn't necessarily what happened in that game, but they certainly started at 100 miles an hour, and we didn't start at the same speed. So when we were getting the ball, we were still being slow in our kind of passing across the back three, or trying to pass out more vertically up the pitch. But yeah, Arsenal were just right up for it. And of course, everybody's saying it. If you play two in midfield against a good three in midfield,
yeah.
you're going to have trouble with that.
I think
And
that, and that's the point. I think because even like even where you've just spoken about, when we're playing, so when we're in possession, like they'll press us, but it's not easy to play through midfield when you're outnumbered
Yeah,
in there. So that's in possession, but out of possession, when you're outnumbered in there, it's not easy. It's not easy to cover the ground and cover off the extra bodies that are in that area of the pitch as well. So
exactly.
in both,
Yeah,
and I think that was definitely the game. There was a massive clamour pre-match for like from all the fans for Conte to kind of go to a midfield three. Because I can't remember if it was the previous game that he needed to switch it to a three during the game. So we'd
it
started with
was.
like 3-4-3, and then we'd gone to a 3-5-2 at some point, and that helped
Exactly.
us to win the game. I don't. Maybe it was at Fulham. I can't remember what it was.
No, it was the home game against Leicester. So the last 30 minutes he
That's it.
stuck Basuma on.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
yeah, we looked a totally different side because Leicester,
Yeah.
like Arsenal, were actually bossing the game for the
Yeah.
most part. But when I say bossing the game, what I really mean is that they've got lots of the ball, and we're
Mm.
letting them have lots of the ball because Conte likes to do that, and then he likes to get them in a position where they think they've got the upper hand, and then he gets
Yeah,
the
but
ball back.
we do that so deep that
Yeah,
it means that. I mean, I was talking to a guy about this yesterday, and we'll come on to the like yesterday's game in a bit. But I was talking to a guy about this yesterday, and about how deep are, and then how much higher up the pitch we were, and like trying to press high and win the ball high, and how much more of a threat we looked. And if you're sitting deep, and I understand that that's Conte's kind of his tactic or whatever, and the way he likes to play because he wants to catch people on the break.
yeah,
Um, that's fine, but it means that everyone has to be 100% focused. The defense have to be 100% switched on the whole time for it to work. Otherwise, if there's any lapse or there's any space or anything like that, when you're that deep, it can costly. It can be costly, and it
yeah,
can cost you. And yeah, so it's a risky game, and it also means that we're kind of always sat on the edge of our seats, like fucking hell, get rid of it, come on, get rid of it. What's
yeah.
going
I
on?
know. Yeah,
you know,
I know.
so,
It's crazy.
yeah. So I don't know, I don't know. So I mean, to talk about the game specifically, and I can't believe we've actually spent like 10 minutes on the game, and I thought we'd only spent about two. But
Mm,
I thought when we pulled it back to 1-1, I thought we kind of had a chance. And like delusionally, I thought we kind of had a chance. Oh, we're back in the game. Yeah, we'll kick on from here. And that never
yeah,
happened. I
yeah.
thought. I don't know about you. I know you're probably a little bit more harsher than me on these things, but I thought Royals' red card was harsh. I didn't think it was a red card. I think the stupidity was that he gave the referee an opportunity to make a decision, because he dangled out a leg in a situation where Martinelli was running away from our goal,
Yeah,
in his own half, running away from our goal, and it was like, well, why would you even flick out a leg at that point? Because
mm,
you know
mm.
there was no threat, there was no pressure. But then
No, you're right.
the pundits make me laugh because once the decision is made, then they suddenly go, well, yeah, like it's definitely a red. I mean, it's a dangerous challenge. He's caught him halfway up his leg. I mean, you just look at the blood pouring from his thigh, bastard. But there was no downward pressure. There was
Mm.
no actual malicious intent. Just a stupid, casual, lazy
Yeah,
flick out of your leg. Which was. But as I say, why give the referee an opportunity to make that decision?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the whole shame of a red card is that it ruins the game, obviously, in many ways, but probably not for Arsenal fans, of course. But you're right. There was no kind of intent with it, but it was clumsy, and he basically had his studs up a bit. It was down his leg. You're just asking for trouble there. The ref's potentially going to give a red card there. He's definitely going to give a yellow for it. So yeah,
What was the score at that point? Was it 1-1 or was it 2-1 or?
I think it was 2-1, wasn't it? Because
Yeah,
we'd gone into half time just with the penalty. We came out, and then Jesus Christ scored a goal, and then yeah, so we were on the back foot after that.
I mean, so I don't think it materially changed the outcome of the game. I think the way we were playing, 10 or 11, I think we probably would have, we probably would have lost the game anyway. So,
Possibly, yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah.
but
We weren't
hey,
playing that great.
no. Anyway, so okay, let's move on to that from that. So
Yeah.
the next game, I like, happy, right, for you to give a 5 minute summary, a 30-second summary, a 10 minute summary, whatever you like on this game. So it's Eintracht Frankfurt away.
Mm.
Um, I didn't see this game. It was on a Tuesday, clashed with my training. I didn't see the game. So,
Mm.
and it was 0-0. 0-0.
Yeah, it was
I put a nil. I
nil
put a
nil.
0-0 loss on the notes.
Brilliant.
The joys of copy and paste.
I prefer the 0-0 wins personally, but there
Yeah.
we are. Yeah. No, I think it was actually an entertaining 0-0, especially after the trouble that we had at Arsenal. I think going to Frankfurt, we upped our game a bit. We were able to um, actually press them quite a bit. They were quite passive, and we had a lot of the ball. We should have scored. We should have scored probably two or three, and but we didn't.
Yeah.
They had a couple of chances, but all in all, it was a good away draw, and we got that point, and I think that point actually might be quite significant for us. So
It looks well, judging by some of the other results. I think the other results on the day, and also the other result last night as well.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think you're right. So obviously, the next game is the Brighton game. But before we
mm,
before we talk about that, obviously there was the very sad occasion of Gian Piero Ventrone's passing
mm,
that the club had to deal with.
yeah,
It's really obviously very sudden, unexpected, and I thought it was amazing that um, you know when they spoke to the players after the Brighton game, which obviously we're going to talk about in a minute, but
yeah,
the emotion that the players displayed, they spoke with the the emotional tributes before the game that the players put up on social media.
yeah,
Uh, I don't know if you saw Eric Dyer's tribute, but it's very emotional, very 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 well written, very eloquently put.
mm,
It's clear the impact that this guy had on the players, on the club, how much he was loved and appreciated, even though he, in his job, his job was to cause them misery, but
yeah,
but he was obviously an expert in his art, and they appreciated him for it. They felt that they ultimately were benefiting from it, and as a
mm,
person, he was clearly someone who was thought of as an outstanding individual. So clearly, it'll be
yeah.
sad we lost, and you
Yeah,
kind
it
of
was. It was. In fact, when I heard that he died, it didn't quite. I didn't quite clock onto it because I just thought, "What do you mean he's died?" I couldn't quite work out what had happened
yeah,
at the time, and then subsequently you start realizing what it all means, and as you say, you start realizing what he meant to the players, and yeah, and as we saw after the Brighton game. I know we'll come on to that game, but Harry was really upset afterwards.
yeah,
Very, very choked up. You don't normally see him like that. He's normally very kind of professional and what have you in front of the camera.
yeah.
But he really struggled there, and yeah, so yeah, massive loss. And apparently, it was the